Imagine you're comparing this year's sales against last year's sales. Sounds very simple, right? Well, not necessarily, especially when your company doesn't follow the traditional January to December calendar. What if your fiscal year actually starts in February instead of January? What if you use like a 445 retail calendar? Or maybe this year has 53 weeks, while last year was like 52 weeks. In these scenarios, suddenly the idea of year over year, month over month, period over period is not that simple anymore. And that's actually a challenge that many companies face today. So in this episode, I'll show you how a modern semantic layer like Mosaic helps companies solve that very complex enterprise analytic problems with custom calendar. Let's go. All right, so let me start by sharing a comparison of two different dashboards that highlights the different challenges companies they face today. So in this one here, we have net revenue, and we have additional metrics like previous quarter, previous month, and previous week. This one is using a default calendar, as you can see here. In other words, the first week, the first month, the first quarter of the year is January the 1st, right? That's the standard. But as I said in the beginning, in the introduction, some companies, they don't use that calendar. Look at this example right here. This is a retail company or a retail department of a company. They have a specific calendar that starts, the first week of the year actually starts on July the 1st of 2024. The first month is actually that date. That's also the first quarter, and that's not year 2024, as you can see here. That's year 2025. So what we are seeing here is a customer using their calendar logic to get the proper results. Results are correct. Functions are being applied in accordance or in conjunction with the calendar being used. So let me show you how we can accomplish this with the semantic layer that Strategy offers with Mosaic. The first thing we need to do is we need to go to Workstation Web or the Workstation app. Provided we have the right privileges, we can go here to internationalization, and we should go and create a new calendar. All right, so we click create new calendar, and we need to define a name for that calendar. Retail calendar could be the one, could be school calendar, or whatever name we want. Notice that we have under base calendar a few options. First one is ISO 8601 calendar. If you choose this one, you can define the specific calendar begins and ends, and also the week grouping. So this, let's say, company could be grouping weeks like 445, 454, or 544. That's different ways to group weeks during the year. But in my example today here, in the example for retail, I'll be choosing the custom calendar option. And what we do in here is we need to select a file, a CSV file with a specific template. The template, we can download it and take a look at it later, and of course, do the proper modifications. What I'm going to show you right now is my specific CSV, the one that I shared in the dashboard before. As you see here, first date of the year in that retail scenario is July 1st. So that's day one, that's week one, that's the first month, that's the first quarter, and the year is 2025. Once we go to July the 8th, that's week two, right? Once we go here to August the 5th, that's the second month. Once we go down all the way here to September the 30th, that's actually the second quarter. So it's a completely customized calendar, as you're seeing. With that in mind, once we do the adjustments here, once we apply the proper dates in here, we can just go ahead and upload this file. And then as you can see here, we have already a calendar preview. It shows that this starts on July 1st. That's going to be a week one, week two, week three, week four, week five, then next month only 4 weeks. So we define the amount of weeks we have according to our specific needs. And finally here we can define the table prefix, something like maybe whatever name we want in here, right? But let me just do it like retail calendar. What we are actually specifying here is that once this calendar creation is triggered in a Mosaic model, for example, some tables will be created in a data warehouse, and those tables will have the prefix called the retail calendar. In this case, you can add a period in here if you want, or an underline, whatever you guys prefer. So that's step number one. We first need to create the retail calendar in Workstation. Now, let me show you how to use that retail calendar in a Mosaic model. By the way, you can use the retail calendar or whatever calendar you create, not only in a Mosaic model, you can apply it to attributes, to users, and to projects. But in this video, I'll just show it in a Mosaic model, in the semantic layer. What we have to do here is we go to Settings, this button, we click Others, and as you can see here, we have a brand new function called Time and Calendar. So instead of using the default calendar, the one we saw in the first dashboard I shared, we can specify that this will be using the retail calendar we just created. We can go ahead and close this one here. And of course, we need to save that so it behaves properly. In the end of the day, what is going to happen is the calendar is applied to the model. The functions we have, like previous month, previous quarter, previous week, previous year, or maybe year over year, quarter over quarter, month over month, those functions will be using the calendar we specified. So the query will be different. The result will be something like this. The first, or actually the second dashboard we saw. It will do the proper calculations. As you see here, July the 1st, net revenue was 239,101. If we go here to like July the 8th, where the net revenue was this, previous week we use that specific week over here. The calculation is being performed correctly. And the same thing with previous month. We can go all the way down here to previous month. So as you can notice here, this is the second month or second period. And the results you see here, 239,101 is the one for the first day of the first month, And the same thing happens for like quarters. And of course, in this case, I don't have previous year because I just have 1 year worth of data in my custom calendar, but it could be working for a year as well. We could be using month over month metric, quarter over quarter. All those different combinations will be leveraging the custom calendar. All right, so that's a very important thing to notice, and that's a brand new feature that is being added to Strategy Mosaic in June 2026. All right, so let's wrap this up. One of the most important things that I learned while working with enterprise customers is this. Every company, every business has its own way of measuring time. When that happens, your calendar is not just a list of dates. It's actually part of the business. It's part of the business logic itself. And if your analytics platform doesn't understand that logic, well, at the end of the day, when you create your reports, your dashboards, when you ask questions via AI, the results you get will be completely wrong. That's why features like custom calendars are not just a checkbox, they are a must-have. They are actually about making sure that the results you see are the exact ones according to your business definitions. I hope you all find this content useful. I'm really looking forward to have you guys learning more about strategy, about data platforms, about semantic layers. And for that, I put together my playlist, all my videos in here. I strongly invite everyone to give them a like, to give them a check, and of course to subscribe to the channel. It's my pleasure to have you all here. Thanks for watching, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all at the next quarter.